Welcome to episode 26 of the Pitbox Podcast. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably wondering, who are these guys? Where's the rest of my co-hosts? What's going on? Where have we been at? Don't worry, I got you. So the co-hosts are a little busy today. It's fine, so I had to bring some substitutes. They'll be back. Chris might actually jump on later on in the show. But for now, we got these two guys. We got Justin and David Dalton. Now, you guys might be a little bit more familiar with David, but we also know Justin. We had to bring in some reinforcements for this one. So, Justin, tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, so as you may know, my name is Justin. I'm 18 years old, and right now I'm in college right now. And I'm also pursuing I'm in flight school right now, trying to get my private pilot's license. So that's the main thing I'm doing right now. And as you may know, as a big hobby, I'm a sim racer, do it quite a lot. And other than that, yeah, it's pretty much what I do. And yeah.
All right, cool. Now, David, no monologue. We'll give you an episode at a later date, but give them the elevator pitch. What you've done and who you are.
All right. Hey, guys and girls. My name is David Dalton Jr. I'm 24 years old. Born and raised in Montclair, New Jersey. Currently living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I currently work as a certified BMW technician and now a BMW performance driving instructor while pursuing my dream and craft of being a professional racing driver. And yeah, that's really just the big long sentence of that.
Don't get the F4 stuff. You can tell them about that.
Yeah, so a little bit about my racing background. I started in kart racing in 2018, competitively finally, when I moved to North Carolina by myself. I'm still here by myself. All my family's up in Jersey, so I made North Carolina my foundation. I did that for about a measly 8 months because I was ready to go into cars. So I went into the Lucas Oil Race School, where I did one basic 2-day training and then a advanced 2-day training. And I immediately showed a lot of pace in a car. So the judges or the instructors at the time recommended me for the Lucas Oil kart to car shootout, where I placed 5th up against or this was the first year of that shootout. So I placed 5th up against the best 30 kart racers in North America. So a lot of people got their feelings hurt when a guy who only had been driving karts for 8 months beat them out. But talent shows a little bit there. But after that, I did the 2019 Lucas Oil Formula Car Championship, where I had 4 podiums and 1 win. And I placed as high as 2nd in the championship standings until I had to forfeit that due to I ran out of money. So I wasn't able to finish that championship, which would have been a $75,000 championship prize winning. And that ultimately would have, I would have moved into USF 2000 after that. But instead, I found money afterward to start an F4, since that was a bit cheaper. And I was able to do 4 weekends total of that, where I was with the teams of Group A Racing and Alliance Racing, also sponsored by Gas Monkey Energy. I had my highest place finish of 7th out of 33 cars, which isn't bad, especially given I only did 4 weekends out of the 12 weekends that were, on offer. But yeah, now I'm looking to race sports cars, trying to get myself into a Miata and then race IMSA. And yeah, there's a long road ahead. No pun intended.
All right, well, there you go. Just, for the folks at home, if you want to hear more about David's story, we can give him his own podcast so you can talk about it a bit more, because, he definitely has a lot more to say. But for today, it's not about our personal racing experiences as racers, but more so as fans. So this year, we've had the chance to go to a few races. Obviously, F1 for Justin. David has been at an F1 race weekend in the past. This year and previous years, I've done IMSA Formula E a few weeks ago. They even done NASCAR back in the day. And we just wanted to talk about the different levels to the fan experience that all the various series have for people. So we'll start right at the top. Justin was at F1 Miami this year for qualifying. I know it was 10 million degrees in Florida.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the first thing that comes to mind is that old Will Smith song, Miami.
Yeah.
South Beach, bringing the heat. I know it was hot out there. So talk to us about qualifying day. Like, just give us the vibes. What was the experience like?
Yeah, so let me start out by basically getting to the venue because that's first thing you do. So it was my dad and I. We got dropped off at the venue because of, first of all, there was no traffic there. I mean, there's a lot of traffic there, no parking at all. So yeah, we got dropped off, and then going into the venue, you see all the fans going in. But I was surprised because security and checking in, scanning all your tickets and stuff, it was under 10 minutes. So it was very quick. So I was surprised with that. I was expecting to be there waiting in line for like 30, 40 minutes, but no, it was very quick. They handled it pretty well. And walking into the venue, it was pretty good. They had a lot of things going on. They had the pit stop challenge, the F1 esports stuff. So they had a lot of things to keep the fans, happy, I would say, before any of the events started. They had a couple of vintage cars racing down the tracks that the fans could see beforehand. And I saw a couple of supercars as well. I think I saw Mika Hakkinen driving a McLaren, which is pretty nice. The 99, 98 F1 world champion. You don't know that.
Yeah.
But the venue itself, I mean, first of all, the food was expensive. I think my dad paid like $40 for 2 tacos and a drink. So
Hold up. 2 tacos?
Yeah, 2 tacos and a beer. $40. Yeah.
and uno was it cervezos? I think beer is in Spanish. But what?
I don't even know what beer was. I just know it was a beer and 2 tacos, and he spent all that money, and we regretted it after. But yeah, other than that, it was very hot that day. But the venue did have free water refills and cold as well, which is a big touch up. I thought it was going to be hot, but it was cold, which I liked. I refilled my bottle at least like over 10 times at least because it was so hot that day.
Y'all get that free water, man.
Oh yeah. So
man, free water hit different, honestly.
But yeah, there was a lot of people there, and we had grandstand tickets, and I think it was on the second DRS straight, right by the braking zone, like right before it. So you would see the cars at around pretty much full speed at with the DRS on. So that was pretty cool. The W Series weekend was also that day. It was race. I believe they had 2 races. I can't remember. I think it was one or 2, but we also saw the W Series race, which is pretty nice. But majority of the time it was under safety car, so you didn't see much, but I still got a couple of videos of it. But going back to the venue itself, it was fine, just expensive and hot. So we didn't really walk around as much, just sat under the shade of the grandstands. And watching the practices and the qualifying was pretty nice. It was my first time seeing any cars at a race, any race, because it was my first race. But I'll definitely be going to other races in the future.
Well, that's a high bar to set. Your very first race weekend as a spectator going to see F1 at arguably one of the in terms of locations, one of the more exciting races that we've had this year for like the number of celebrities and stuff that showed up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I know there was a lot of celebrities there I saw on social media, but personally I didn't see any because I would have asked for a photo, but I'm sure they're all in the paddock club and all the expensive areas, I would say.
Well, how much were your tickets?
Sorry?
How much were your tickets?
Oh, tickets, they were, I believe, 500, 600.
Wait, for two?
Yeah, very expensive.
No! Oh my goodness. Yo, I was thinking 200.
I was.
What?
So originally, I saw like tickets for 300, and I was gonna do that. It was the cheapest one. It was grandstand tickets. But then when I pressed checkout, they started putting all this tax, and it was up to like 600. I was like, okay. But then my boss, he's a really nice guy. I told him about it, and he actually got them for me as a gift, which I'm very, very, very like appreciate him for that. And because he went to the first, he's also an F1 fan, and he wanted me to experience it. He went to the first race in Coda back in 2012. He showed me all the photos of it, and I didn't even know he was an F1 fan until I told him. But yeah, I really appreciate him for that. And he also bought it for my dad, so credits to him because I wouldn't have gone if to pay that price for qualifying and not even the race. But yeah, the seeing the cars itself was pretty good. Like just the pure speed of the cars is amazing. Um, there was one thing I did notice is that since I think because the tickets were so expensive, you didn't see like a lot of the fans there like didn't really know much. Like they didn't have much knowledge about it. They were asking a lot of questions. Like the people I was sitting next to, like didn't even know like the team names, driver names. I was just answering all the questions for him. So it was kind of sad because I'm sure if the tickets were a lot cheaper, you would see a lot more, say, diehard fans that know like that really want to go to the event just for the racing and not for just the hype of it. Because I know on social media there was a lot of things about hype and all that, but other than that, yeah, the venue it was great. I mean, standard venue, expensive but very hot, and grandstands had good shade, so it was good on that. And the W Series race was good. So a lot of wheel to wheel action when it wasn't under safety car, and yeah, and qualifying was good. A lot of Ferrari fans there. I think Leclerc was the one who got pulled that day, so
Yeah.
pretty good. But we all know what happened in the race. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, was pretty much it. I mean, I enjoyed the day, and but I think for the future, I would not pay that price to go to an F1 venue. I mean, if tickets were cheaper, I would definitely go, but I think the money would be better spent in like an IMSA or WEC event because I'm sure you could do a lot more stuff, like see the cars up in person
Oh, we
for a
oh, we
cheaper price.
we gonna
Yeah.
get into that. Trust me. But
Oh yeah.
before we do
So
get into it, you kind of hit on uh the interesting part about F1, which is they're not trying to be a value series when it comes to the price of the tickets. It's
oh yeah.
you're coming for this show, you're gonna pay and you're gonna like it. you
Yeah,
know,
that's pretty much how it was.
think about how much you paid, and like you said, that was just a qualifying day. Now, I don't know what race day tickets were, but it's more
Oh
expensive.
yeah, it was double. It was double.
It was double
Yeah,
for race
so
day
so
to just be in the grandstands. Then, of course, if you wanted the paddock pass, that's a few G's.
oh yeah.
If you know what I mean? And I think there's another tier after that, but you probably have to be VIP or the team has to actually invite you.
Yeah,
But
it was like they had clubs for the certain teams. So they had like the Ferrari club, the Mercedes club, Red Bull club, and you would see a couple fans in there, a couple team members, and like the family of the teammates. They were all in there. And
yeah,
there's my dad. He had a friend actually working in the Ferrari club. He showed us photos of it. I could probably show you later, but they had a lot of like old vintage Ferraris there. He was a chef, so yeah, but just very expensive.
okay, yeah, but shout out to your boss for holding it down for you and your dad.
Oh yeah, I'm very credits to him. Like I was at a loss of words when because he just sent me the text message of the tickets. I was like very confused. Like I thought he was going, and he's like, "No, that's for you." I was like,
That's right. Yeah. I
"Yeah."
mean,
So
I keep saying at this point, the only way I'm going to the F1 race is if it's overseas because it's cheaper to go overseas than it is to go to Coda or now Miami. And then, well, Vegas is coming soon. So, Vegas is going to
yeah, like
be ridiculous too.
the Hungarian race, I saw the tickets are pretty cheap, only like 200, something like that. I think a little bit cheaper actually.
Yeah, that's
It would actually be cheaper to buy a flight to Hungary and a hotel and tickets in Hungary than like the actual like price for qualifying in Miami. So big price difference there.
exactly. At some point, like it costs so much, I need to be in the car, not
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
I need George to go sit down. I got you for FP1 because it's like, yo, like what am I paying for?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's just madness. You know what I mean? Or just be a part of the team some other way. Phew. Yeah. But all right. So David, obviously you too have been to an F1 weekend. I know it's a little different
Yeah.
for you because you were racing, but also you got to be a fan. So what was Coda like the year you went?
Yes. So my first F1 experience, which definitely was a magical one. So for one, man, it was bone chilling cold. My goodness, like watching F1 on the TV for so many years now, you never really understand the environment that the drivers are in. You just see that they're either in like a light coat or just all muscles out, guns out, suns out, you know. But here in the US and it being Texas with the dry air, yeah, it was the end of September or November, I think, something like that. I was not expecting it to be so dang cold. Like it was 31 degrees in the morning, dry air, it was frosted everywhere. And me driving that weekend, all of our events were in the morning. So we went out on track at like 8 o'clock. It was 38 degrees out. I had ice blocks on for tires, but just getting in to the venue itself and doing the track walk, absolute goosebumps when you come around that last corner and look up the main straight and you see the biggest elevation change in Texas for miles. Man, that really like it floored me, and that really hit. That's the moment when it hit me that I'm on the same turf as currently as the F1 paddock, you know, and I'll be driving the same track when they are using this or moving the same rubber out the way and, you know, flying into the same corners. It was surreal, but just the environment of having 280,000 people at one area. Oh, and my cell phone service really paid the price being there because I didn't have any type of speed. I was trying to look at Instagram, post some stuff. I couldn't even post a 5-second video. And if it did post, it was 15 minutes later. But just the energy of everything was crazy. I would say uh, one of the biggest surprises of an F1 car. I mean, yeah, you've heard all the figures about how fast they are and how quick they brake, you know, but from the infield that I was in for Formula 4, I had basically a top of the trailer view of the braking zone going into that, or of the back straight going into the braking zone into that stadium section. And even that braking zone, it was covered off by like some trailers and stuff, so you could only see a car for like a split second. But they would come in there at like 210, and then you hear them lift off, get right on the brakes. You don't hear the brakes, you just hear the downforce. And oh my gosh, the thunder that those cars bring coming down the straight, it's absolutely insane. So they slam on the brakes, then they disappear behind the trailer. And then when you see them again, they're just basically stopped going around the corner. And you're like, what? So it was absolutely crazy. And Grosjean's going to hate me for this, but I started dying laughing when he was going through the second corner all the way through to turn 9 section. So like the S's.
Yeah.
I think it was qualifying. He absolutely binned it. he did the left, right, left, the back end hooked. He corrected. He shot right off. I was like, oh,
tank slapper.
Huh?
Tank slapper.
Yes, it was the quickest tank slapper of his life, and that's the thing about these downforce cars. Like when you have grip, you have it, but when it goes away, even if you correct in the slightest, you have to be like 3 times as fast bringing it back, or else you're just off. I mean, I haven't really experienced that yet. Actually, no, I have. But it was in Lucas Oil. But it was Mid Ohio turn 1. I have a really loose car. I came around and just corrected. But anyway, yeah, with Formula One, that was something to remember. And I'll never forget the sounds. I'll never forget the smells, and just the energy and the aura of being in front and racing in front of a multi-million billion dollar crowd, and having that platform to just, market myself there, because I was doing a lot of networking that weekend. Even as a spectator of the sport, I still had a lot of work to do, and that was actually my second race in Formula 4 race weekend. So that was the second half to my debut, and I'll never forget it.
There you go. There you go. I'm glad, someone had a great time. And of course, like you said, your experience is a little different because you were already there to race. I mean, technically you were part of the undercard.
Yes.
So that's a real unique experience, especially compared to, Justin going to Miami just as a straight spectator. But it's all good though. It's all
It must have felt surreal since it was a race weekend, so all the fans were there.
Yes.
A lot of the times at the Formula 4 races, you only get a couple fans, so it must have been crazy seeing all those fans up there in the grandstands. I don't know if it made you nervous or not, or if you're just focused on the driving, but
Not
it
at
just must have
all.
felt cool just seeing all those fans there
It really
watching you
was.
race. Yeah.
It really was, because especially going into the oh man, I'll tell you this, especially going into the stadium section, into that braking zone. I'm actually tearing up because of it, honestly. But that double overtake that I did as I was braking, like, I just remembered, like, mid brake zone, the full grandstand to the right, to the right of me, and they just saw a car fly up from behind, because you had one car right here and one car right here, and I was about half a car length back right here. And let me put you in the driver's seat for a second. So, like, I knew I had a crap ton of time going down that back straight, because we're only going around 145. F1, they go like 210. So, like, you're just sitting there. So I had a lot of time to really feel the air and feel where the draft is. So I started, say the car's right here, another one's right here. Started back here, and I had basically the last bit of that slipstream from the car all the way in front. So I was like, all right, let me reposition myself, get behind the car in the middle. Then I got a bigger slingshot. So that set me up to be halfway alongside the middle car and be a full car length behind of the car to my right. Going to that braking zone, I had to keep one eye of where I was on track and see where the car in the middle was, because I didn't know him and I didn't know his driving style. So he could have either, started fishtailing in the braking zone or what. So into that braking zone, I just remember I just completely switched my vision to look straight towards the car all the way on the outside, because I had to brake later than him. And I did. I broke later than him, got right up alongside with that car still in the middle, because I had to tell myself to keep that line, because if I didn't and I came over a little bit, I was going to hit that car and I was going to hit the car over there, because my car would have, did one of those.
Yeah.
And that would have been very bad.
Yeah.
So
inexpensive.
Yes. I kept that line in that braking zone, slowed the car up enough, turned in, released the brakes, the car rotated. It was still very understeery, but man, I got through that hairpin. I checked my mirrors real quick, kept going. It was absolutely amazing. And I was like, these people just saw me do that. It was great, man. I'll never
put on a show for them.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And that was for like P26 or something like that, because I was coming up from P38 after my teammate jumped a curb and then flew into me. So that pushed me off from P38, and I drove all the way back to P19. So that was a win for me, especially on my second race weekend ever.
Yeah, still got to fight for every position, no matter where you're at. So just keep fighting.
Don't stop till the checkered flag drop. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but cool. So this F1 experiences. So me and David have also been in NASCAR races. So for me, both races was when I was in, I want to say the sixth grade. I believe it was the sixth grade. And we went to Dover. Funny thing is, the first time we went, it actually was a rain out. So we were just there. And it was like, all right, well, we just made the trip to Delaware for nothing. And of course, you know, in NASCAR on the ovals, when it rains, they just race on Monday. But had to go to school, so just watch the highlights on TV when I got home. But then the next time we went, and it didn't rain, and it was a crazy experience because it's like you can't even completely follow the cars as easily as you think you will be able to because they're going pretty fast. Like Dover obviously is not like a Daytona or Talladega, but they still moving, you know, around the Monster Mile. And you sitting there, it's like boom, 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 and you just smell gasoline and see a flash, and then you look and they're already on the other straight, and it's like, God damn, like how did he get through that corner so fast? And that was just so amazing to me, you know. And of course, like it was interesting being like one of, it felt like 10 black people in the stands, but I mean, the vibes was fine, you know, but that was a pretty cool experience. Now, that was my first race actually that I had been to.
Mm-hmm.
How was your NASCAR experience, David?
So my first NASCAR experience was actually back in, I think, early June or mid-June here in Charlotte. And I got there super late because I had to work. So that was like my third week or fourth week as a BMW driving instructor. So I hauled ass from South Carolina to get back here home. And then one of my friends, since I had an extra ticket, one of my friends met me here, and then we drove to the stadium. I got there at around lap 183, or I forgot, maybe I think it was lap 90 out of 200 or 300, something like that. I forgot, but Bubba Wallace, he started P4 that race, I think, and he was doing really well until he got a tire down in the coming out of the final corner, and he just spun right through the infield. He didn't get any damage, but like it was so awesome to see a brother like that in person finally running up in the mix, because I wasn't even paying attention to who else was up there. I was just looking at Bubba the whole time. I'm like, man, we really out here doing this. And I'm finally experiencing NASCAR firsthand. And even though it was all right seats. I mean, it was seats good enough to see the whole circuit, because even though it would have been nice on a really hot day and sunny day, I was up in the bleachers, nice canopy overhead, and you saw all the pit lane, you saw the infield, and it surprisingly wasn't that loud. I mean, yeah, it was loud, but I actually had earplugs in, so I can't say that it was that loud, but I was protecting my ears. But yeah, it was definitely a new experience because the demographic of fans are completely drastically different to anything you'd see on an IMSA weekend or Formula One weekend. You saw a lot of "Let's Go Brandon." You definitely saw a lot of that. So, I mean, you know, it's all in good fun when going to those weekends, and I was definitely grateful to finally see NASCAR for the first time. And let me show you this. I even came home with a Bubba car.
Okay.
23X time.
Awesome.
Yep. 23.
I was like, I gotta get something after seeing Bubba do that awesome that weekend. So yeah, I have this on my I have a little subwoofer behind me to amplify when I go off track and you hear the grass kind of bump up from underneath and the rocks. So I have this on top of the little subwoofer with a GT3 Bentley, one of the Big Bertha Bentleys. So yeah, I like this thing. Let me put this right here.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think maybe next time I might want to go to a road course race for NASCAR. Now that I've done ovals, and then of course like the 500, I think that'd be pretty cool to do also.
Oh, I have been to the Indy 500. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. I love that.
That's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that was recently, or you were younger?
That was 2015 and 2016.
Okay.
So the 99th and 100th running. And ironically, we saw an American win the 100th Indy 500, which was Alexander Rossi. And then the 2015 one, which is the 99th. That race, I think, still is one of the best Indy 500s ever. Like as far as the racing and the last 100 laps, there were so many lead changes, so many, 2 wide, 3 wide going into corners somehow. It was bonkers. I would say that. So, and I got to see one of my favorite drivers, Juan Pablo Montoya, win that race. So, I mean, going into that race weekend, I didn't know all the IndyCar drivers. I wasn't really familiar with them. But after seeing the standings and seeing that Juan Pablo Montoya was there, I was like, let me root for him because I know of his racing style and I've been such a huge fan of his early 2000s Formula One stuff. So, yeah, I highly recommend the Indy 500.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got that on the list for sure. I don't know about participating. That's like the only race in the world I'm like, yeah, sure, if I had the opportunity, I probably would do it. But yeah, that's the only one that makes me hesitate just a little bit. But as a fan, I'm definitely all on board for that. Yeah. But now, my favorite fan experiences, without a doubt, not just for the course, but what you can do with that course, is IMSA. I think IMSA is unmatched as a value proposition as a fan. Every event I've been to, is like you spend $100 for the weekend and you're damn near in the car with them. Yeah. Like it's crazy. Like you just walk around. If you know them, they'll let you in their garage areas. But if you don't, you're still pretty close. You watch them put the cars together, watch them roll through the grid. Like the only thing you can't do is walk on pit lane. You're free to walk wherever you want, pretty much. And think about how much I just said. I said $100 for the weekend, and Justin's your ticket was how much? And you couldn't see what qualifying, which is less than an hour, or an hour.
An hour.
Yeah. It was around 600 for FP3 qualifying and the WC's race.
Yeah,
it's still not. Yeah,
it is unmatched when it comes to the fan experience. And then we were just talking about Juan Pablo Montoya. I actually had the chance to take a picture with him when I was at 6 Hours of the Glen this year.
Mm-hmm.
I was there on the practice day. Well, we went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I saw him. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that's him. That's Juan. And he was just sitting down, like just texting on the phone and stuff. And then he saw me looking at him, and I waved, and he walked over and took a picture. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. And then his son, Sebastian, also was over there too. And then when they did the autograph session, him and Jimmy Johnson had the longest lines of anybody for autographs, which isn't surprising. You got two extremely popular race car drivers. But again, like that too was included in the $100. Like if you try to do that in F1, again, you either have to pay
tackle.
Yeah, can't even get close to them.
Can't even see him.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, they're not even in the vicinity. They're like all the way in the back. They're in a trailer, not to be seen by anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only driver I saw was Pierre Gasly when I was in the pit straight when I was sitting there with my dad. I just saw him in the garage there with all the mechanics looking at the data, but that was the only driver I saw like actually in person. All the rest of the drivers, they were all in the back there somewhere and doing their thing. But yeah,
exactly. IMSA you just walk around and they're walking through the garages, like they're sitting outside the trucks. They're just chilling. And like these are top tier, grade A, as I like to say, drivers. And it's just crazy that you can get that type of access to them for nothing. And then, like I said, for F1, you either got to be on the team or you got to spend thousands. And then you probably still not seeing them as much as like I saw them when I go to 6 Hours to Glen or Lime Rock or Sebring. They're like crazy. But just so everybody knows, I've been to 4 IMSA races. The first one was 2019 Sebring Super Weekend, which was the IMSA and WEC back-to-back days. And that weekend is really the reason why I even pursuing being a pro race car driver, because by like the second lap of that race, I was like, all right, I know what I need to do, because I can't go back and sit at a desk when y'all out here doing this. This is crazy. You know what I mean? And of course, getting this, Alonso is one of my favorite drivers. So getting to see Alonso race live in effect was amazing, and seeing the Toyota prototypes, TSO 50 up close. It was like alien technology. I'm like, wait, he just teleported down the street. What is this? It's different. I need some of that. And then like we said, also, you were just relegated to the grandstands when you went to the F1 race. Whereas with you can just pick whatever part of the track you want and just keep migrating. You turn 1, cool. You want to move to turn 10? That's cool too.
You'll be walking miles on the IMSA weekend.
Literally. Like I think we might have walked like 6 miles one day and then 11 miles the next day. And granted, like we also went to Watkins Glen State Park, which contributed to the mileage. But most of that mileage was walking around Watkins Glen. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Like I can't speak highly enough about the IMSA fan experience. I highly recommend anybody who wants to go to a race, let it be IMSA.
Yeah. Full immersion. You get to walk where the drivers walk. You walk where the team owners walk. Just, you're in there. Only thing, of course, you can't do, walk down pit lane, walk on the track, or, or actually, nah, you can't do that. Be inside the trailer. I've gone in some of the trailers just because I had a credential. But yes, I mean, for anyone who's just an ordinary sports fan, racing fan, like you can see everything that the driver sees for the most part. So highly recommended.
Yeah, there's not really too many like tiers to the tickets. There's like you can get the VIP one, so you can go get like the water and food and stuff. But like the base ticket gives you just about everything you need. Yeah, I love it. Like I said, 6 Hours at the Glen, Lime Rock, Sebring, especially Sebring. I think that like that year we went, that was rated like the #1 stop on the tour for WEC, because it was just a ridiculous weekend. Sebring get kind of crazy at night as you're walking through. But yeah, like I said, I can't talk about it highly enough. So next on your list, Justin, next year, 6 Hours to Glen or Lime.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I'm gonna take off hours for that day and just go spend the weekend there.
Whole weekend, and then even go for Watkins Glen. You should go like a day earlier because the scenery up there is amazing.
I've heard about it.
Go visit the lakes. So you do some wine tasting. Well, you're not 21 yet, but I can go do some wine tasting and things like that. But it's great. But also went to a new series this year a few weeks ago, Formula E Brooklyn. Now, usually, as you guys know, or maybe you don't, the tickets for that have been like hundreds of dollars. And that's been the deterrent for me not going these past few years, because I'm actually a Formula E fan. I know a lot of people are opposed to it because they're like, oh, this isn't real. It's electric. And you're
You said it's electric. What? That's like a stupid cue that I do. Whenever someone says it's electric, I go boogie, boogie, boogie. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, they're hitting the electric slide out there. But but yeah, so people have been complaining. Like the last few years, like I said, I'm really a fan of the series. Like I think the racing is good. Obviously, they're top tier drivers. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, it is going to be the future. Obviously, we're seeing electric be implemented a bit more into the various series, and then we also have even more electric series. Like what's the name of the rallying series again?
Oh, Extreme E.
Yeah, yeah, no, Extreme E. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, so
I was like WRC.
no. WRC they went hybrid this year, but it's not. Sorry, my dehumidifier just cut on out of nowhere. But anyway,
I mean, you are talking a lot. You probably got some hot breath.
Shoot, I hope not. Like anybody can smell it anyway, so whatever. So yeah, so this year the reason why I went was because the tickets were $15. So I was like, this is a no-lose situation because even if I go and I don't like it, I only spent $15. I didn't even leave New York City. So what's the worst that could happen? So, fortunately enough, they actually had a free shuttle service from the train to the race. It was only like a 20-minute ride included in that. And then, you walk in, they have the E-Village. So they have, it was like artificial turf with some shade over it and chairs and tables and free phone chargers and stuff. They had food, of course, like David mentioned, the free water, which it hits different when it's free because you don't even have to think about how much you're drinking. You just go back and get some more. They also had a sim racing experience, which is pretty cool. I think the top people would get a ticket to London, which is the next round. I was like 29th out of who knows how many hundreds of people that did it. I should have went back, just track familiarity, maybe use a different name, alias, a different email, and then smoke them. But I had that type of time, unfortunately. It was pretty damn hot outside. And then, they had the usual merchandise shop and all that. But overall, I really enjoyed it. They do practice, qualifying, and the race all on the same day, which is different than, of course, like IMSA and F1, where the weekend is one round, whereas for this, each day is one round. It was easily the most diverse crowd I've seen at a race because you're in New York City, and I probably also because they're $15 tickets, it felt like everybody was in there, and that was pretty amazing to see because when you go to IMSA races, there's not that many Black people. Like it is what it is. You go to NASCAR. There's not that many Black people. Like it's still in terms of fans predominantly white, but that wasn't even the case of Formula E. So that was pretty refreshing to see. And then the action on track was pretty cool. Like the cars are way faster than they appear on TV, and especially since the track is so tight. And then it was funny, like I was standing next to the track for the start of the race, and it was just a flash, and you felt the wind. And you didn't even hear the cars, which is different, but it didn't even bother me. I know some people get super offended, like, where's the noise? And, after going to IMSA races, which the sound is crazy, you got to wear earplugs. It's like, okay, I understand, but this is different and it's still cool. So if they come back, I hope they come back. $15 tickets, even if it was like $50 tickets, it's still worth it. You should go. The action was good. I know that the day before, there was a monsoon like right in the middle of the race, and a bunch of cars went flying off the track and stuff, which was kind of wild. It was like a wall of rain when you see the onboards, but it was just hot and dry when I went on that Sunday. So highly recommend. It's something different. It's something close. I feel like it's something that can help move the sport forward in terms of making it more diverse, making more people aware, and taking things to the next level, especially since their main goal is sustainability. So I'm on board with it. Hopefully I see you guys there, especially you, Justin, because you live close, being that,
Yeah.
all you got to do is just get on the train.
Yeah, and it's something different, something unique. It's since like what you said with the noise. Usually when you go to a race, you want to hear like loud V8s and loud things, but it's something different, and which is good.
Yeah.
And I know every Formula E race that I've watched has been interesting. A lot of wheel action, even if it's just a street circuit. But it's as long as the racing is good, you'll see me there. So
Yeah, exactly. And like I was in the grandstands for qualifying. I skipped practice because it was just real early in the morning. I, trying to get some sleep. But for the race, I was in that artificial turf area, just sitting in the chair, watching on the screen. And it's funny because like obviously they're racing right there, and you can't hear the cars, but you'll hear them like drive over the curbs and stuff, which is wild. But you go to an IMSA race, like I said, you gotta wear earplugs because the sound is crazy. And I know like for the prototypes, they keep saying that, like the V8 and the Cadillac, the twin turbo V6 and the Acura and stuff is supposed to be similar or, pretty much the same as a street car. But I ain't never heard no street car sound the way the prototype sound. So I don't know what they're trying to sell us, but I'm not buying it.
personally, I love the sound of the Cadillac. It just sounds.
It's violent.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Violence, bro. It's pure, unadulterated violence.
and the sound of the Sullivan Lexuses, they sound amazing, and the Porsches.
Oh yeah, and luckily in 2019, it was when the 911 RSR is racing before they had the side exit exhaust, which it ruined the sound. When it was still out the back. I mean now, like they went back to the rear exit, but they don't race RSR and IMSA anymore. Not as
yeah.
But that was still easily the greatest sound I've ever heard in my life come from a car. Elite in every sense of the word. The violence, the volume, the downshifts, you name it, it's a 10 out of 10 on the scale, and it'll probably never be touched. but yeah. So anything you want to say about IMSA, David? Besides what you said, you good?
Well, I mean, my first IMSA experience was in 2015 at Watkins Glen. Unfortunately, that weekend was cut short for me since I got a really bad headache, and I basically had to be sent right home, which was 4 hours away. But I did go back in 2019 at Watkins Glen again, and I saw a lot more. And I actually saw Juan Pablo Montoya again racing. He was with Acura, I think, or something. And yeah, Acura, and they were battling with Mazda.
Yeah, he was with Penske.
Yeah, the two Acuras and the two Mazdas racing against each other. And they were playing so many like tactical games on track because the Mazdas were closing in very quick. So like each lap, they would catch up like another half second. And then they started reaching traffic. This was in 2019. They reached traffic and then just everything went haywire. They started pit stops. I mean, that was absolutely insane type of racing that I saw from those prototypes. But yeah, IMSA is the best value for your money if you want to just get all up in there and just meet drivers and most likely meet your favorite driver, which is very rare if you're going to go to a Formula One weekend. If you meet your favorite driver, that was like a 2% chance that was ever going to happen. So, but IMSA, that's the way to go. And for drivers who are or diverse drivers, I would say IMSA is the way to go for opportunities, sports car racing.
Oh yeah.
So.
And especially because it's also multi-class racing. So when you watch the race, there's always something going on.
Yes, exactly.
If it's just a one-class race, sometimes it could get a little bit boring, like gaps start to build up. But in multi-class racing, there's always, DPIs passing DTs and LMP2s.
Yep.
Always people cutting each other off in the brake zones.
And then a GT car trying to race an LMP2. Because they can't get away from each other.
Yeah, always something going on.
It's amazing. Yep. But yeah, so there we go. This is our show for tonight. I'm gonna let these guys go so they can hop on iRacing. I can go eat some dinner. Comment below if you want that full episode from David. We'll let him talk about his driving exploits as opposed to us as fans. And then Justin might make an appearance at some point later. We'll see how he feels. But
yeah, hopefully.
yeah. So, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Of course, there's always more to come. We'll have the Instagrams below, and we'll holla at you guys later.